question. Why is it that the moment you finally walk away, the moment you stop chasing, stop begging, stop caring, she suddenly starts to miss you? Why is it that silence speaks louder than every text you ever sent? You see, there's something deeply psychological about detachment. Something that most men never understand until it's too late. When you finally stop giving her the reaction she's been feeding off, that's when she starts to feel the loss. Because what women remember most isn't the gifts or the words or even the moments. It's how you made them feel when you were no longer available. And when that presence disappears, the void you leave behind becomes her punishment. But to reach that point, you need to understand the real power of detachment. Not as a game, but as a mindset, a stoic discipline, the rare kind of control that only men who have faced pain, rejection, and ego death can truly master. And if you're new here, welcome to the Mikey Stoic Guy. This channel is built for men who are done chasing, done begging, and done being overlooked. Here, we study the philosophy, psychology, and mindset that turn emotional chaos into unshakable control. Every video is designed to sharpen your discipline, rebuild your confidence, and teach you how to lead with calm power. So if you're ready to evolve, to stop reacting and start ruling your emotions, hit that subscribe button right now and stay till the end, because what you'll hear in this video might just change the way you see yourself forever. See, detachment isn't about pretending not to care. It's about realizing what actually deserves your care. It's not silence for attention. It's silence for peace. It's walking away not because you want her to chase, but because you've realized you were chasing a ghost, an illusion of what you wanted her to be. When a man becomes emotionally detached, the world misreads it. They think he's cold, emotionless, cruel. But the truth is, he's been burned enough times to know the value of peace over chaos. You were never meant to prove your worth to someone who couldn't see it. You were meant to refine it, protect it, and offer it only where it's respected. And that's what stoic detachment is. Not weakness, not indifference, but ultimate strength. Because while she's out there searching for validation, you're building something she can't reach anymore. A version of yourself that no longer needs her approval to feel whole. And here's the part that stings her ego. She expected you to crumble. She thought your silence was temporary. She thought you'd come crawling back like every other man who confused her attention with affection. But when the calls stopped, when the messages stayed unread, when you didn't flinch at her absence, that's when her curiosity turned into confusion, then into doubt, then into regret. Women are emotional historians. They replay moments. They analyze energy. And when she realizes that the calm you carry now is the same calm she tried to disturb, that's when it hits her. She didn't lose a man. She lost a man who could have made her feel safe. She lost presence. She lost peace. And that's the kind of loss no rebound can fix. If this hits, drop any emoji in the comments. And if you're building unshakable self-respect, hit subscribe right now. Because you're about to learn the quietest, most powerful form of revenge, becoming untouchable. Here's the truth. Detachment is not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. It's when you no longer react to things that used to consume you. It's when you can sit in silence while the world tests you and still not break. That's why Stoics like Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. That's not just philosophy, that's strategy. Because when you control your emotions, you control the game. You stop chasing outcomes. You start observing patterns. You realize that her pulling away wasn't rejection. It was revelation. It showed you exactly where you stood. And instead of begging for closure, you give yourself one simple truth. You don't need her to choose you when you've already chosen yourself. The reason detachment works is simple. It breaks the feedback loop. The human mind craves validation through reaction. When she pulls away, she expects you to chase. That reaction feeds her ego, confirming her control. But when you do nothing, when you stay calm, focused, and unbothered, you starve her ego. You strip away her illusion of power. Suddenly, she's left alone with her own thoughts. And that's where the guilt begins. Your silence becomes her mirror. She starts to see what she did wrong. Every ignored message becomes a reflection of her choices. Every quiet day feels heavier than 1,000 words. Because deep down, she knows what she lost. A man who cared without needing to prove it. A man who would have done anything for her, but now won't even look her way. And here's the paradox. The more you detach, the more they chase. Not because of magic, but because scarcity breeds desire. The moment you stop making yourself available, your energy becomes rare. And what's rare becomes valuable. You were too available before, too kind, too predictable, too forgiving. That energy doesn't make women fall in love. It makes them comfortable, and comfort kills attraction. But when you shift your focus inward, when you start prioritizing your growth, your fitness, your peace, your energy shifts. You start walking differently, talking differently. Your eyes stop seeking approval and start seeing through people. You become the calm in the storm, and that's exactly what pulls her back. But by then, you've already moved on. Tell me in the comments, have you ever gone silent after rejection? And if you're done chasing people who don't respect your time, hit that subscribe button. Because here's the truth. Women regret losing men who find peace after pain. They regret losing the man they couldn't manipulate anymore. It's not because they suddenly love you. It's because they realize they can't control you. Detachment terrifies people who thrive on attention. When you stop reacting, they lose their power. And when you stop explaining, they lose their narrative. That's the essence of Stoicism. Self-control in a world addicted to reaction. But let me tell you something deeper. The power of detachment isn't about getting her back. It's about getting yourself back. Every time you begged for attention, every time you tried to prove your worth, you were abandoning yourself. You were dimming your own light just to be seen. Detachment is the process of reclaiming that light. It's not revenge. It's rebirth. The silence you hold now isn't cold, it's sacred. It's the sound of a man rebuilding himself from the inside out. There was a time when you thought losing her was the worst thing that could happen. Now you realize it was the best thing that ever did. Because she didn't reject you. She redirected you. She forced you to evolve. And that evolution made you untouchable. You no longer chase people. You attract peace. You no longer react to insults. You outgrow them. You no longer explain your worth. You embody it. That's what Stoicism is. Not pretending you don't care, but learning to care selectively. Most men never make it to this stage. They get stuck in bitterness, hoping she'll regret it. But here's the real mastery. When you detach so deeply that her regret no longer matters. When her apology doesn't excite you. when her attention feels small compared to your mission, that's when you've won. Because you've realized that her validation was never the prize, your growth was. There's a quote by Epictetus that says, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." You imagined her as your future. You built stories, fantasies, versions of her that never existed. And when she left, you didn't lose her. You lost the illusion. That's what detachment frees you from. The lies you told yourself about love. Once you stop romanticizing potential, you start respecting reality. And the reality is this: the man who detaches first always wins. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you, sincerely. Most people never stay through an entire video like this, but you did. That means you're not just watching, you're awakening. You're beginning to understand what few men ever grasp: that peace is more attractive than passion, and control is more powerful than chaos. So if you're still here, subscribe to the Stoic Guy right now, because the next chapter of your growth begins here. And trust me, what's coming next will hit harder than anything you've heard today. Stay till the end next time, because every video after this is going to build you into the man she wishes she never lost. There's a story I want to leave you with. A man once loved a woman so deeply that he built his entire world around her. Every morning, he'd wake up and check his phone, hoping to see her name. Every night, he'd replay their memories in his head, convincing himself that love like that couldn't just disappear. But it did. She drifted. The calls stopped. The warmth faded. And one day, she was gone. He spent months trying to understand what he did wrong, rewriting conversations, doubting himself, thinking if he just said the right thing, maybe she'd come back. But the truth is, she wasn't supposed to. Because she wasn't sent to love him. She was sent to wake him. So one day he stopped. He stopped checking his phone. He stopped chasing closure that was never coming. Instead, he sat with the silence. It was brutal at first, the kind of quiet that makes you question who you are. But over time, that silence became his teacher. It showed him that peace doesn't come from being chosen. It comes from choosing yourself. Months later, she reached out, said she missed him, said she thought about him every day. But by then, he wasn't angry. He wasn't desperate. He wasn't waiting. He had changed. His calm, his discipline, his quiet confidence, it said everything she needed to hear without him saying a word. That's the power of detachment. When you stop chasing what's not yours, what's meant for you finds its way. When you stop trying to prove your worth begins to speak for itself. So if you're still healing, if you're sitting in your own silence right now, wondering when it'll stop hurting, understand this: the pain is not punishment. It's preparation. It's shaping you into the man who doesn't need to be chosen to know he's valuable. And that is when she regrets losing you. See you later.